What happens when a successful CEO decides to go undercover and visit his own hotel, only to be refused a room for a reason that shakes him to his core? Let's dive into this emotional and eye-opening journey of truth, humility, and redemption. Elliot Grayson was a name that echoed in the world of luxury hospitality. At 42, he was the CEO of Grayson Hotels, a chain of high-end hotels spread across the country. His life was a testament to hard work, ambition, and an unyielding drive to succeed. Born in a small town, Elliot had always dreamed big. He started as a bellboy in a local motel, and through years of dedication, he climbed the ladder to build his own empire. But success had come at a cost. Elliot had become distant from the very people he aimed to serve, his employees and guests. His days were filled with board meetings, financial reports, and high-profile events. He had forgotten what it felt like to be on the ground, to interact with the people who kept his hotels running. One evening, as Elliot sat in his penthouse office overlooking the city, he felt a strange emptiness. The glittering skyline outside his window seemed cold and distant, much like his own life. He stared at a framed photo on his desk, a picture of his younger self, smiling proudly in his first hotel uniform. That boy had dreams, not just of wealth, but of creating a place where people felt valued and cared for. Elliot sighed deeply. "Have I lost touch with who I wanted to be?" he wondered aloud. That night, he made a decision. He would go undercover and visit one of his own hotels. Not as the CEO, but as an ordinary guest. He wanted to see his empire through the eyes of those who mattered most, the people who walked through its doors every day. Elliot knew he couldn't just walk into one of his hotels as himself. His face was too well known in the industry. With the help of his trusted assistant, Marcus, he devised a plan. Marcus helped him create a new identity. Elliot became Evan Harper, a middle-aged businessman traveling for work. Elliot dressed simply in a plain suit, leaving behind his designer wardrobe. He removed his Rolex and replaced it with a modest wristwatch. He even practiced speaking in a slightly different tone, softening his usual commanding voice. The next morning, Elliot, now Evan, arrived at the Grayson Grand, one of his flagship hotels located in the heart of the city. The hotel was a symbol of luxury, with its grand chandeliers, marble floors, and impeccable service. As he walked through the doors, he felt a mix of pride and nervousness. Elliot approached the front desk, where a young man named Derek was on duty. Derek greeted him with a polite smile. "Good morning, sir. How may I assist you today?" Elliot smiled back. "I'd like to book a room for the night, please." Derek nodded and began typing on his computer. After a few moments, his expression changed. He looked up at Elliot, his smile fading. "I'm sorry, Mr. Harper, but it seems we don't have any rooms available at the moment." Elliot frowned. "That's strange. Your website showed available rooms just an hour ago." Derek hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. "I apologize, sir. There must have been a system error. Unfortunately, we're fully booked." Elliot's heart sank. He had specifically chosen this hotel because it was one of his best. How could it be fully booked without his knowledge? Determined to understand what was happening, Elliot decided to wait in the lobby. He found a quiet corner and observed the front desk. To his surprise, he noticed other guests arriving and being checked in without any issues. Confused and frustrated, Elliot approached the front desk again. This time, a different employee, a man named Lucas, was on duty. "Excuse me," Elliot said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I was told there were no rooms available, but I just saw other guests being checked in. Could you please explain?" Lucas glanced around nervously before leaning in slightly. "Look, sir, I'm really sorry, but we've been instructed not to book rooms for certain individuals." Elliot's eyes widened. "Certain individuals? What do you mean?" Lucas hesitated, clearly torn between following orders and being honest. "It's just management's policy. I can't say more than that." Elliot felt a knot tighten in his stomach. His own hotel was refusing guests based on some hidden policy? This was not the vision he had worked so hard to create. Elliot decided to dig deeper. He spent the next few hours observing the hotel's operations. He noticed subtle signs of discrimination. Guests who looked less affluent or didn't fit a certain image were treated differently. Some were turned away, while others were given subpar service. As the day went on, Elliot's frustration turned to anger. He had built this hotel to be a place of inclusivity and warmth, but somewhere along the way, it had lost its soul. That evening, Elliot returned to the front desk, this time revealing his true identity. The staff was stunned, and the manager, a man named Victor, was called immediately. Victor's face turned pale as he realized who stood before him. "Mr. Grayson, I had no idea it was you." Elliot's voice was firm, but filled with emotion. "Victor, what's going on here? Why are we turning away guests based on who they are?" Victor hesitated before finally speaking. "Sir, it's not personal. We've been under pressure to maintain a certain image. Some guests, well, they don't fit that image. We thought it was best for the brand." Elliot felt a wave of disappointment. Best for the brand? Since when did we become a brand that judges people? This is not what I stand for. Elliot spent the next few days at the hotel, working alongside the staff and speaking to guests. He listened to their stories, their complaints, and their hopes. He realized that his success had blinded him to the very values he once held dear. In a heartfelt meeting with the entire staff, Elliot announced sweeping changes. Discrimination of any kind would not be tolerated. The hotel would undergo a complete transformation, focusing on inclusivity, kindness, and genuine hospitality. As he stood before his team, Elliot's voice was filled with emotion. "We are not just a hotel. We are a home for everyone who walks through our doors. Let's never forget that." Elliot's undercover journey had taught him a valuable lesson. Success is not just about wealth or reputation, but about staying true to your values. He returned to his role as CEO with a renewed sense of purpose, determined to lead with humility and compassion. And as for the Grayson Grand, it became a symbol of change, a place where everyone was welcome, no matter who they were. This story reminds us that true success lies in staying connected to our roots and treating everyone with kindness and respect. After all, the greatest luxury we can offer is a heart that cares. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.